Welcome to Bosch's Technical Support on Demand video series. BVMS, Troubleshooting Intrusion Panel Communications. If attempts to establish communications between BVMS and any panel via their default settings fail, you must validate the automation and communication settings in your intrusion panel. The first step in troubleshooting a communication issue is to access the panel's settings. If you have a copy of the intrusion panel's XML configuration file, you can validate settings based on what is already configured in the panel. You do not need an RPS license dongle to access the panel's XML file to validate settings, but you will need a license dongle if you intend to establish live communications with the panel to read the current configuration or to make changes. Our first step is to open RPS and log into the program. Here we'll use the default account information, username of admin with a password of 1111. Select OK. This should open up the RPS application. From the File menu in RPS, select the Import option. This will open a browser window. Navigate to the location of the panel's XML file, highlight the file, and then select Open. Once you have imported the XML file into RPS, right-click the item in the panel list and select Open. Once the panel configuration has been opened in RPS, there are several communication settings that need to be validated. The location of these settings are covered in the order of appearance in the menu structure. The Onboard Ethernet Communicator menu contains two settings that are critical for successful communication with BVMS: the panel's network address and the automation network port. To access this menu, select the panel-wide parameters menu. Next, select the Onboard Ethernet Communicator submenu. With this menu selected, make a note of the device's IP address and TCP/UDP port number. If these settings have been changed from default, attempt to use the current settings to establish communications between BVMS and the panel. The automation menu also contains two critical communication settings: the automation mode and the automation passcode. To check these settings, navigate to the automation menu, which is the third option from the bottom in RPS. The automation device option must be set to mode 2. If any other setting is entered, BVMS will not communicate with the panel. If this setting is incorrect, you will need to establish direct communications with the panel to change it. The required steps to establish communication will be covered later in this tutorial. Make a note of the automation passcode. If this setting has been changed from default, attempt to use the current setting to establish communications between BVMS and the panel. If modifications to the panel's communication settings need to be made, you must have a valid RPS license dongle and connection via USB cable in order to connect to the panel with RPS. With RPS and the panel settings open as in the previous steps, select the Connect option from the RPS toolbar to open the communication menu. From the panel communication pop-up menu, select the USB option in the connection drop-down menu. Then select the Connect tab. Once connected and any necessary changes have been made to the communication settings, select the Save tab at the bottom of the RPS application. After saving your changes, select the Send and Receive menu tab to push the changes to the panel. This pushes all changes to the panel. Then select the Disconnect menu option. During disconnection, you will receive an End Session pop-up menu. You must select the Reset Panel option before selecting OK. If the panel does not reset, changes will not take effect. Once the panel is reset, you should be able to establish communications between BVMS and the panel. This concludes this tutorial. Thank you.